Hey there, people. It's Bad Doc Boone here with another episode of Bad Doc Boone's Sonic Cellar. Anyway, we're carrying on our song review and song commentary track for this one. We started yesterday with, or at least last night, with City Heroes by Billy Bragg. We're carrying on, and now we're going to go after the one I'm sure a lot of you were probably thinking I was going to start off with first. Let's describe the atmosphere. Starts off, hi-hat and acoustic guitar in the back, kind of simmering there. The singer steps up, he describes the scene of an incident. Going down a road, describing until you see what's happening on the streets of Minneapolis. And with that, Allure kind of kicks into drive. Yep, we're talking about Bruce Springsteen, streets of Minneapolis here. Anyway, this is a song that he wrote shortly after learning about the death of Alex Preddy at the hands of ICE. He wrote it one day, recorded it the next, and then released it shortly thereafter. Carrying on in the tradition of folk music releasing and recording songs quickly. And tradition also pops up in classic rock here and there, most notably Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young with the song Ohio in 1970. But anyway, musically, he starts off with this, just the acoustic guitar, his voice, and a hi-hat going down there for the first verse, talking about the situation, what's happening, all leading up to something happening on the streets of Minneapolis. Then the song picks up. It goes into, electric guitar kicks in. There's a little bit of power, a little bit of keyboards in there, talking about the situation leading up to this happening and the current events going on in the streets of Minneapolis, including deployment of troops, and people being killed, and other things. Along the way, musically it kind of picks up, it carries on into a little bit harder rocking version of the folk rock tradition, 1960s. You kind of have the spirit of Woody Guthrie via the Byrds, even if it doesn't exactly sound like it. I mean, there's no 12-string guitar anywhere on it, for example. But, it carries on with that, picking up along the way with an organ and backing vocals as he talks about people, ICE agents, who he refers to as Trump's thugs, mentions Renee Good and Alex Preddy, and, talking about protest and an abuse of power along the way. In a roughly 3 or so minute song, he unleashes a social commentary that's kind of an audio newsreel, really, about current events up in the Twin Cities. It's a song that, already's drawn some criticism, some attraction. One casual fan I know thought he might just been, kind of bandwagon jumping to get on that. And before you think this guy's MAGA, he's not. He actually said some good things about Jesse Wells' song about ICE. So I don't necessarily think that's the case, given that, Springsteen has written political songs in the past, including, 41 Shots, the song about, I'm trying to remember what exact police-related killing in New York City caused that, way back in the early 2000s. And, it's covering of the old Edwin Starr song War on this live album in 1985. But not before, in a monologue leading up to it, saying that blind faith in your leaders aren't anything to get you killed. So he has touched upon it. But a lot of people still misinterpret Born in the USA, not realizing that if you take it in its overall context, it's a relatively depressing album if you take it as a whole and look at it from start to finish. But people all wanted to see Born in the USA as this jingoistic patriotic anthem, and they wanted to look at Glory Days as a thing talking about Glory Days, not mentioning that he actually considered the stories of Glory Days to be boring and hope that when he got old, he didn't sit around thinking about it. But he probably will. So it's kind of, so he's not exactly who a lot of people have kind of thought he was. And one thing, normally if an artist does a song like this, especially in the political climate in this country, you're not doing it for publicity or fame. It's going to draw you a lot of pressure, especially if you're lesser known. Springsteen doing it actually managed to get it number one streaming charts in 19 countries, at least upon the first day or two of release. The chart releases may have fluctuated since then, and unfortunately I don't have the time to look up every single streaming chart in every country to see where it lies on the chart. It'd be nice if I could have that time and that kind of energy to spend on it, but right now I don't have the time to do that. But anyway, so was it written for symbol clicks or trying to cash in? I don't know. What I will say is it is a audio newsreel of sorts. I'm commenting on what's going on in a city under siege. And him drawing from folk rock in spirit, if not totally in sound, kind of carries on in that tradition in a more modern way. Where it differs from, say, City of Heroes by Billy Bragg is the fact that this song is more a newsreel of sorts, talking solely about what's going on in Minneapolis. Whereas City of Heroes started off with Martin Niemöller pretending that he didn't have to speak out until they came for him, and then wondering what he'd do in that, and talking about them, when they started going after people getting in their face, them speak out, and so before it gets that bad. So, two views on the same thing, but it's also one of those things that I thought needed to be discussed. And if you're doing song with song reviews, even if it's a week or two late, it's a song I couldn't avoid talking about one way or the other. Now the big question here is, was it written on a whole cloth, or was it repurposed an older song? That I need to look into. And if I look into that, if I find some information that it was a rehash of an older song or rewrite for that, I might make an addendum video to talk about that. But for now, I'm going to assume it wasn't, mainly because what little bit of research I've been able to do, I haven't found any concrete proof of that. I think part of it, people kind of look at it just because the title Streets of Minneapolis, he had an early hit in the mid-90s called Streets of Philadelphia. Excuse me. Was from the soundtrack movie Philadelphia, which was a movie about a lawyer who faced discrimination because he had AIDS. So it's possible he referenced that, but I'm not certain. He might have referenced one of his other songs. That I do not know. What I do know is that Springsteen felt he had to speak out about it, and he made his case, and a lot of his fans like it. Some of his fans that haven't been paying attention to what he does are probably either angry about it or just think he's trying to be PC or whatever. Or woke, or whatever. Yeah, I keep forgetting woke's the new PC now, and at least it's a mere word by the right. But anyway, I will say this though. No, this is a song I didn't expect to hear on January 1st, 2026. So anyway, this is Bad Doc Boone with Bad Doc Boone Sonic Cellar. We're going to have a few more of these along the way. We're going to try on song reviews to have, at least during the weekday, at least one a day, maybe two, depending on circumstances. Eventually, go into albums or EPs or that kind of stuff. It's just kind of being cautious about that because, there's a lot more people don't really make albums anymore. But, a lot of us who are older, an album was an event. It was important. I know these days, the days of just sitting in front of a stereo, in the days of the 12-inch vinyl album, just sitting there with the lyric sheet, just trying to, if it had one, trying to figure out, reading the liner notes, doesn't really exist the same way it did back in the day, but I think it's important still. Anyway, we got some more songs coming up ahead on this. Anyway, and if you liked what you saw in this video or our previous videos, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We'll let you know what's happening down the road, or at least they say that's what's happened. I don't know. But anyway, this is Bad Doc Boone. It's probably a little shorter than the first video, but we're going to try to keep these things close to 10 minutes. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, for all the people out there, guys, gals, non-binary pals, all the people out there, let people know that you care about them, and do the best you can. We're all in this road together. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye.